remember that there's a national executive meeting of the Shiv Sena that's slated to happen this afternoon. And India Today is getting you the inside track of what's expected. There's going to be a big decision taken on removing Eknath Shinde from the post of party leader. This is a very important post, we're being told, within the Shiv Sena. There are only 4 of them, including the likes of Aditya Thackeray. So Eknath Shinde was on the same level as Aditya Thackeray, as Anant Gite and Khare. Now, all of these netas, these party leaders, were appointed by Uddhav Thackeray directly. Eknath Shinde could be removed from that particular post. Besides that, the Shiv Sena, the Uddhav Sena is going to take a decision on the kind of stand that they're going to take against these rebel MLAs, against every MLA who's chosen Eknath Shinde. Sharad Pawar has reportedly advised Uddhav Thackeray that they need to take an extremely firm stand against these rebels. So there could be a decision on the kind of crackdown against these rebel MLAs as well in this meeting. Let me take this across to Dev Kotaka as well for details about what's expected in this national executive meet. We're hearing, Dev, that there's going to be very clear action that's taken against Eknath Shinde and also against all of the rebel MLAs who've chosen to back Shinde there.
Well, yes, absolutely. Yesterday, the meeting that had happened at Mr. Uddhav Thackeray's residence, the meeting is believed to have been attended by NCP Chief and Supremo Sharad Pawar as well. Also, we have given to understand the fact that, Sharad Pawar has advised that a firm stand be taken against the rebel MLAs. So, let us just quickly try and understand the fact that, the important points that will be discussed today is that how to save the party's stature. Secondly, also what to do about the MLAs who had rebelled. Like I mentioned earlier, that firm action should be taken against them is something that Mr. Sharad Pawar had suggested. Also, the part where you discussed about the 4 leaders, what they call as netas, 3 of them are generally appointed by the chief of the party, which is Mr. Uddhav Thackeray himself, Khare, Anant Gite and Eknath Shinde. The 4th leader is his son Aditya Thackeray, who was chosen after it was put to vote. So he was elected by the other party leaders. So there are 4 netas. So, with Eknath Shinde having to move out, we don't know who is going to be filling in the void yet. But for now, firm action will be taken against them, and also he has clearly specified the fact that if required, if called upon by, by the Deputy Speaker, then we might come back. But also some of the MLAs, we had spoken to earlier, had said that we are not in any hurry until this kind of crisis has been resolved, because we don't want to come back after hearing the false promises and then later Shiv Sena turns back or takes a U-turn after the kind of promises that it makes. So we are going to completely wait it out until and unless this has been resolved entirely and the crisis has been put to bed. So these are the kind of things that we know. But of course, today is expected to be a politically packed day also, and several activities are expected to go on with either sides going back and forth trying to save the government from falling. However, Shiv Sena has always argued and stated the fact that, including Mr. Sharad Pawar, who said that this was BJP's 3rd attempt to topple the government over. They have been trying, and him and Sanjay Raut, both of them have assured that BJP, come what may, will not be able to form the government in the state. So these are the kind of arguments that have also been made and statements that have been issued in the press. However, later during the day, it is going to have to be a wait and watch situation where we have to monitor the developments and the political activities that go on very closely to try and ascertain and determine who will form what in the state. So before we kind of start speculating in any form, we must go with the flow, and like I mentioned, it has got to be a wait and watch approach. So we got to keep a close eye out on all the meetings and the discussions that take place in these meetings.
So 1 p.m. this national executive meeting that Uddhav Thackeray will be chairing will be happening. At 2 p.m. right after that, the Shinde camp will be deciding their next course of action. And we are getting you the inside details of both meetings. meetings here. What's on the agenda? What will be the big takeaway? As far as Uddhav Sena is concerned, they're going to be deciding on the next step on what kind of concrete, sizable action needs to be taken against Eknath Shinde, as well as all those MLAs who've chosen to back him. On the other hand, the 2 p.m. meet by Shinde Sena will be a decision on what's to be done about the Deputy Speaker taking up the disqualification petition that's been issued by Uddhav Thackeray. So it'll be interesting to see what are the outcomes of both these meetings. Polami focusing particularly on the Shinde Sena camp. More action is likely, is what we're hearing, against the likes of Eknath Shinde and rebel MLAs. Are they worried that, any sort of action right now by Uddhav Sena could dent them, or do they believe that with the numbers on their side, nothing really can deter them?
Well, see, Akshata, the fact that they do have 2/3 of the legislative party with them right now, that is definitely advantage the Eknath Shinde camp, because at the end of the day, if you were to go ahead and apply the anti-defection law and have anyone disqualified, that can't be possible when they have 2/3 of the numbers with them. They're, of course, going the other way. The Shiv Sena is basically saying that they did not attend a particular party meeting, because of which they have voluntarily given up the membership of the party, and that is the aspect of the 10th schedule of the Indian Constitution that they are invoking in order to proceed forward with these disqualification notices. Of course, Eknath Shinde says that these sort of this does not apply to meetings that are held outside of the precincts of the assembly. It applies to whips that are issued inside the assembly, and for assembly proceedings only that you could be moving this sort of a disqualification notice. But there are in fact precedents in the past where it has in fact impacted those who have in fact rebelled against the party outside as well. So there is a lot of legal nuance in how you interpret the law and what are the precedents in the law as well, where there are exceptions as well in several cases. That is going to, it's going to sort of boil down to that eventually, and that is what it's going to sort of come down to, and that is why both sides are now legally strategizing. While of course the Uddhav Thackeray camp is legally strategizing with the Advocate General of Maharashtra, Eknath Shinde is also consulting top lawyers in order to ensure that he and his group are secure and do not attract any sort of action which basically disqualifies them from the assembly. That is going to be extremely critical, because no MLA who's put in and invested so much just 2.5 years ago in terms of resources, in terms of effort, and has got elected would like to go into another election just 2.5 years later. They did not fight the election for 2.5 years. They contested to stay in power in their seat for 5 years. So that is not something that anybody here would like to have happen, disqualified and then to face fresh elections. And that would, in that sense, then would upset a lot of these MLAs. They would probably go back to the Uddhav Thackeray camp. So that is something that Eknath Shinde, that kind of fallout, he'll have to contain for the moment.